Have a why not both situation on our hands. One of them has to be victorious, and we are going to see who that is. Starting this game on the play will be Tom, 7th seed on the play. You don't see that unless it's the finals.
Daniel being the 8th seed. So both bottom seeded quarterfinalists just ripping through the bracket here despite being on the draw the whole time. And you can see right behind Daniel Savage the prize that they are playing for.
Yeah, they are playing for City of Traders. Has a little bit of an Arabian Nights feel to the art. Beautiful Byzantine architecture. I had a chance to talk to Rich Shea about it. He was really excited about the prize that these players are playing for this weekend.
The art looks gorgeous. I mean, I don't care what you say. The pictures really do not do it justice.
And those of you who watch Vintage, I don't think that one's going to be turning into an elk. You can't target a land.
Dan hits Tom's volcanic island with a wasteland here, obviously lending itself to the mana denial strategy that Dan's Delver deck is looking to deploy with the 4 main deck stifles.
Wow, just wasteland right off the get-go.
It looks like a very happy tropical island.
It is. I mean, if you've ever traveled to a tropical island, that's usually how you feel while you're there.
Oh, that's an island I can get behind.
The original full art island unglued there.
It would be that, and Beta would be my 2 kind of favorite basic lands.
Okay. I'm more of a chaotic evil when I choose my lands, so you don't even want me to say anything. Chad will get really mad.
As we see more often in Legacy, I feel, than Vintage, Ponder shuffles. Dan looking for some business on top. Has a Daze, has a Lightning Bolt, it looks like, in hand as well.
Yeah. See a good mix. There seems to be a little land heavy, if I'm not mistaken. Probably want to be able to brainstorm some of those back and kind of increase the spell density of Dan's deck. Doesn't really benefit from more than 2 or 3 lands.
Tom stuck with 2 True Name Nemesis in hand. Also has a Spell Snare.
And there's that Daze taking care of that Goyf.
Dan picks up another land, sends the turn back. Force of Negation in Tom's hand. I think he wants to save it for more of a back-breaking spell like the True Name Nemesis that he has in hand. Just waiting for that 3rd land.
Yeah, one of the things you notice in the Delver Mirror is that the pitch counter spells tend to be much weaker. Delver decks are 1-for-1 decks. You want to maximize the power of each of your spells, spell density using Ponder and Brainstorm. Force of Negation, if Tom can allow it, he'd rather pay the 3 mana for it than pitch a blue spell to it.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of Force of Wills and Force of Negations probably coming out once we go into the sideboarded games.
See Tom crafting his draws a little bit more. Neither player putting a threat into play successfully yet. Tom was kind of the first to pull trigger on that, but was unsuccessful.
A spicy Brainstorm there, drawing 3 spells. However, Tom still missing some red mana.
Yeah, so there's this article series that, or rather one article that existed, I'd say in the late 90s by Mike Flores about who's the beatdown. Who would you say is the beatdown in this matchup?
That is a great question. I think Dan, just kind of with the mana denial strategies, be kind of planting the flag with the stifles, is going to look to kind of, control it a little more, and then kind of create that advantage later in the game.
Okay.
And just kind of really try to wreak havoc on Tom's mana base, which you kind of see here with Tom unable to get to red mana right now.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I can agree with that.
And I think Dan has another wasteland queued up for that tropical island.
Yeah, we also noticed that Tom was the first one to kind of make a creature, to be honest, and so that kind of feeds into the beatdown.
And it looks like Tom's going to be brainstorm locked here a couple turns. Not much going. He can prevent some of Daniel's play here, but not really a great position for Tom.
Yeah, his lands are kind of petering out. Wasteland is, for the most part, a spell. Does cast a True Name Nemesis or Orgoy from time to time, but that's about it, and that's the main deck.
Double island here for Dan, not giving any targets to the wasteland on Tom's side of the table.
Yeah, he has a Volcanic Island in hand in case he ever wants to cast that Lightning Bolt, but really just happy enough to do all the damage with these blue sources.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's going to have to piece together some pressure here sooner rather than later, because if Tom starts drawing out of this, like I said, just Delver decks in general have such a density, to really draw out of things in situations like this.
You'll probably see 2 lands go back as Daniel tries to make his hand more spell intense and tries to get a threat with proper protection into play, trying to close out this game, as you say.
Basic mountain.
Yeah, Dan just really wants no part on that wasteland.
And Dan just really showing the advantage of kind of being on 2 colors in kind of a wasteland world these days.
And Tom's just having to discard Renin 6 to hand size at this point, losing a lot of value, not being able to craft his hand, get those extra mana sources, etc.
And Tom just unable to interact right now, stuck with a bunch of, counter spells that don't line up to what he has. He has a Force of Negation. Well, Young Pyromancer, not really. Can't be Force of Negated here. Also has a Daze, but Tom doesn't have any islands. So just really kind of disheartening to see, the lack of interaction Tom has and kind of the free reign Dan has right now.
Yeah, but that's what Dan's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's omitting the color green in order to play those stifles alongside the wasteland and put Tom in this exact position that we see here. And Tom's had enough Force of Wills. He would have had to have one stick around. So, but it looks like he's actually prioritized holding on to them.
Yeah, Tom keeping in, I would imagine those are probably the only 2 Force of Wills he still has in the list.
Oh, that was a great heads-up play by Tom there. So, Wasteland on the volcanic island, I choose to fetch in response to that Wasteland, and Daniel, with the Stifle to try to get him, picks up the volcanic island that was being wastelanded with the Daze.
Gives him the Dikembe Mutombo of no, no, no.
Very well played by Tom there.
Gets to save his land and also gets to fetch his land.
Yeah.
Delver delivers some beats into the red zone. And we have another one potentially joining the party.
It looks like 2 pieces of interaction in Tom's hand to deal with what Daniel's going to do to get out of this aggression.
So Tom has Force, Spell Snare.
Yeah, choosing to cast the Ponder and look for something a little more vibrant.
And then we look at a Pyroblast. True Name Nemesis, so he has 2 forces, 2 blue cards.
Yeah, we're kind of down on the Force of Wills here, but it might actually be all Tom needs in order to have enough aggression to pick off Daniel in this game.
Dan has a Delver of his own. Also has a Brainstorm. Looks like a basic Mountain. Looks like a Lightning Bolt. Can't quite make out the other card in there.
And Pyroblast. That's a really good 5th card for Tom to have here. Take out that Delver so that it can't be a future blocker.
Tom is defenses up right now. He's got 2 Force of Wills, 2 blue cards, and a Pyroblast.
I think you just let that Lightning Bolt happen. Like, yeah, your clock slows down a little bit, but you're kind of all right with that. You have at least 3 things covered, one of which is killing the Delver. Yeah, but he disagrees.
Force pitch True Name Nemesis. Values keeping the pressure on. I'm more inclined to Force of Will there myself, knowing I have another Force of Will, as well as a Pyroblast. I'd rather try to keep Dan on the back foot right now.
Yep. And we're going to force that Delver of Secrets to flip. Upkeep Brainstorm.
Looks like we're going to see some lands go back on top here. Oh, what she's going to grab a spell and which land to join it. Looks like it's going to be a Ponder and a Mountain that are going to go on top.
And there's the Ponder flip. We have an Insectile Aberration for Dan as well. Can stop the aggression of the opposing insects. Interesting. If you can get this Dreadhorde Arcanist going, might be able to take out the other one by flashing back the Lightning Bolt, but it's a real tough ask with the way Tom's hand is currently configured.
Tom with the Spell Snare in hand, ready to rumble against any potential Dreadhorde Arcanist that hits the stack, however.
Yeah, but I wouldn't fault Dan for thinking that's the best way to get rid of the 6 power offensive.
Ooh, I think he is going to...
Ooh. Looks like a magmatic sinkhole.
That's what I think is about to happen to one of these Delvers here.
Yeah, it's a magmatic sinkhole. New card from Modern Horizons to add to the list of 2019 affecting Legacy and Vintage this year. It's the non-broken delve spell from the new set. Just kind of deals 5 to a creature, planeswalker. Delve away a few spells. Basically, usually costs 1 or 2 after you have a fully stocked graveyard to help pay for it.
Looks like we have a Force of Will on Daniel's side. Puts the Force of Will on top. Leaving him with Force of Will, Brazen Borrower, and the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Tom, with the Pyroblast in hand, targets the Delver. And now both players down to, well, Tom's down to drawing off the top of the deck. Let's see. Daniel only with a Dreadhorde Arcanist.
So I believe Pyroblast here wins it. Daniel's
Yep.
at 6. Pyroblast on the Delver, clear out the blocker. Brainstorm also works. Unfortunately, that's neither of the choices that Tom was given from the Brainstorm.
Nope, it was a Brainstorm and 2 Ren and 6. 3 Ren and 6, Yahtzee.
Yeah, we have Ren and 18 going here.
Tom is going to be drawing a, spoiler alert, Ren and 6.
Yeah. So Delver for or Insect for Insect. Dan down to 3, needing an answer for Insectile Aberration right here. I imagine it's just going to be Brazen Borrower as a blocker, but that doesn't match up well against...
Was that the draw for Dan?
I believe I saw it floating around. There's been a little bit of brainstorming. You'd actually have to petty theft it because of Ren and 6, if he, which is the line he decides to go with. You have to beware with that red-green showing.
Sends the Delver packing. Ren and 6. Going to grab a land. Allow him to deploy the Delver again.
To hand to battlefield.
Shuffles away the third Ren and 6 on top of the deck.
I appreciate this, but I'm surprised that he didn't go for like just a shoot you line, because Ren and 6 starting at 3 loyalty, that's 3 damage, and having the follow-ups kind of floating about, you can just start throwing more Rens down, shooting Dan with them.
And here is the Dreadhorde Arcanist from Dan's side. It looks like he just picked up a Stifle. He could potentially stifle Delver's trigger here, which I think we're going to see, yes. Slowing down the potential flip.
Yeah, so now Dan empty-handed. Really, this is going to be one of the pivot points that we have. Dreadhorde Arcanist being able to flash back a few different options in the graveyard. Not as many before the Magmatic Sinkhole was cast, but there's some good ones back there.
Tom rips a Tarmogoyf off the top of the deck.
Okay, so now we're going to do the ping, ping, ping option and have a gigantic blocker.
Looking really dire. That Dreadhorde has to get in there to give him some card options here. Brainstorm off the top for Dan.
That's a good one.
Looks like Ponder, Basic Mountain, can't make out the middle card. Puts 2 back. Ponder. Let's spin the wheel again. Hydroblast.
I mean, Hydroblast deals with the Ren and 6, but it's not just the Ren and 6.
Sends him packing. Dan looking for a good one off the top here. Tom cutting to his fate.
It's a good one.
Dan surveys his options. And preordained, nothing coming here. So Tom ties it up. We are
The bad cards rug became a deck. You kind of saw on the SUG circuit that Stifle can still have a place, and Dan's kind of proving here that Stifle can still have a place. Do what you want to do. Cast Delvers how you want to. We saw so many different flavors of Delver this weekend. Everybody's got their own style. There's probably Grixis Delver doing okay as well. We just never saw it.
Here we go. Tom cuts to his fate. Dan with a Ponder, kicking things off here on game 3. Dan also has a Basic Mountain. Did not make out the rest of his hand.
Blood Moon's an interesting choice there.
Oh, Blood Moon is saucy.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to win game 3 like he won game 1, I think Blood Moon's exactly where he wants to be.
Sends the turn back. Looks like a Young Pyromancer, a Brainstorm, a Wasteland also in Dan's hand. Oh boy, is Tom only on 1 land here? I see 2 Force of Wills, a Lightning Bolt, a Hooting Mandrills in Tom's hand.
2 Force of Wills treating him well last game.
Thought Scour.
Wow, non-land, non-land,
He is
draw
stuck on
non-land.
one land. Dan has the Wasteland in hand, has Blood Moon coming off the top of the deck. Ponder finds the second land.
So do you, I was going to ask, do you deploy the Wasteland and waste something, or do you deploy the Wasteland and Blood Moon?
I think if Tom goes to tap out here, being on the draw, Tom's less likely to have days in there. And I think I'm fine with Tom mulliganing to waste kind of another force of will and get another 2-for-1 in.
Oh, we got Hooting Mandrills, so Blood Moon's not going to look that good anyway. Yeah, 4 toughness creature for Dan to deal with. Not exactly what Red wants to be fighting against.
The real decision point there was Dan choosing not to wasteland Tom's land. Again, hindsight being 2020. At the time, did not know it was his only land. Choosing to then play the basic mountain for Young Pyromancer.
Thinking about Dreadhorde Arcanist here. Kind of inclined to agree with that one. Dreadhorde Arcanist is one of the ways that you kind of leverage a lightning bolt to kill the Hooting Mandrills. You can bolt the Hooting Mandrills, attack with the Dreadhorde Arcanist, bolt it again, and get it off the battlefield.
Blood Moon just shuts down Tom's deck here, and I think I'm slamming that.
We see Force of Will not being boarded out, and instead taking out that Haymaker. But Tom's down to 1 card in hand, 2 after the draw. That 4/4's got to do a lot of work, and 5 turns can be an eternity in the Delver Mirror.
So Tom has a little bit of reach. He has a bolt in hand as well.
He's probably going to... Yeah, the Dreadhorde Arcanist is finally going to hit the battlefield after that Blood Moon kind of failed.
Tom ripped a Blue Elemental Blast, though, off the top.
Jeez, lining it up perfectly. Are you bolting it first? Are you bolting face?
I think he's going upstairs. I don't know where the bolt's pointed at, though.
Yeah, brainstorm to see if you can deal with that. I mean, Dreadhorde Arcanist is how you...
It looks like it's at the Arcanist here.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one. Arcanist is how Hooting Mandrills gets off that battlefield. Although, it looks like... Is that 2 lightning bolts in hand now?
Ooh, and Tom rips a Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, plays the Delver of Secrets, has the Blue Elemental Blast to deal with the double lightning bolt line.
Dan still has some time to cobble together. Looks like he picked up. Can't quite make out what he has up top.
Another Wasteland. I mean, you want to lock Tom out, but you're too far behind to do it right now.
No, not now.
I mean, Blue Blast, this is what you were designed to do. You might want to show face here. Confirming target. I mean, that's a very obvious target. If you have one spell that can deal more than 3 damage, you want to go after that 4 toughness creature.
And if Dan sequenced it a little better, Wasteland, hit the volcanic island in your main step, move post-combat, take that play off the table, the Hooting Mandrills might be off the table as well.
Yeah, it's very true.
I think you can see Dan's reaction there a little bit, that he kind of, I think he knows he missequenced it.
Yeah, just a big shrug. Just like, yeah, now that I see it, I see it. Sorry, buddy.
Wow. and shows him the hand. And there you have it, Tom. Tom takes the Rug Delver, a.k.a. still has Oko in it. Even if it's in the 75, I don't care. Still has Oko in it. Oko in both 75s of Vintage and Legacy, albeit a little differently in Legacy.